suggestion because I'm sorry, I'm an audio person. I'm gonna be the bad guy. Okay.
Okay, so wait, what is your title? What exactly do you do?
I'm an EMT.
Okay.
How long have you been doing it?
4 years.
That is such a crazy
just
perspective.
Let's jump in and say that's like, I've got highest respect for that kind of job. Seriously. EMT. The emergency, that's like
I'm telling you,
a paramedic.
it's an
We call him a
insane job.
paramedic.
Well, there's different levels. I'm an EMT basic. There's an EMT intermediate, which your skills move up a little bit, and then there's paramedic, which paramedic is basically a nurse.
Mm.
Oh,
It's an it's the same kind of thing. What's the difference between like an EMT and a paramedic? You're both in an ambulance, right?
Yeah, we're both in an ambulance. We have different skill sets we can go off of. Like, I can only give, for lack of a better word, basic drugs where, you know, your Tylenols, your Benadryl, you know, simple things. Where a paramedic can give cardiac drugs, they can give higher end pain medications.
So there's limitations to
there's limitations to each level.
Yeah.
Paramedic being the top tier, they can do just about everything a nurse does, but without permission from a doctor.
Well, that's neat.
And get paid a fraction.
So what made you like seriously, was it kind of like, because out of high school I know some people went into professions that they weren't passionate about, like, per se. So like, were you passionate about this? Did you get into the profession because you wanted it, or is it just something that fell into your lap?
No, it was more so one of those things that fell into my lap. I worked retail for ever. Well, I worked fast food, and then I moved to retail, and I worked at Walgreens for damn near 10 years.
Shit.
Started in the
How
photo
old are you
lab.
again?
I'm 33.
I looked at
My scrunchie. What the fuck?
But I worked in the photo lab and eventually got a chance to move back to the pharmacy and enjoyed working in the pharmacy. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do from here? I was like, might as well stay in the medical field. And I was talking to my best friend from high school who's been begging me for years to go to BLET and become a cop. I'm like, no, look at me. I'm like, you see my fat ass running anywhere?
I can totally see you as a cop.
I mean,
an American cop.
He's like,
sure.
he's
like, I can see it.
envisions it. Just
but
donuts.
I'd be one of those cops. Well, where's Justin? Oh, he's sitting in line at Krispy Kreme getting donuts again.
You're becoming a stereotype.
Yeah, but
The friendly neighborhood cop.
he was like, well, if you want to stay in the medical field, my stepmom teaches the EMT class out at Wayne. He's like, it's a pretty laid-back job. I mean, it pays decent. He's like, why don't you try that? I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I needed something different because at this time, I just had my first child. I was looking for something more. So
it was more of a necessity.
Yeah.
So before that, you were working in the pharmacy?
Yeah, I was working in the pharmacy.
As like a pharmacy tech?
A pharmacy tech. Yeah.
I thought that paid pretty well. No?
If you're 18, 19, 20,
Okay. But you're
fresh
like,
out of high school.
I got it.
I mean, it's decent pay. When I left there, I was making like $11.50.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's not bad pay.
Yeah.
But it isn't great.
It's a livable wage if you're like a single man.
Yeah.
But with children, it's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah. Of course, I didn't get much of a raise doing what I do now. I mean, we're the worst paid first responders.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
More than, firefighters?
Police and firefighters make more than EMTs and paramedics.
What?
I mean, I'm not gonna like sit here and pretend like those jobs don't also like have the same aspects to it, but that is crazy.
But
I would think they would be equal.
Well, I guess they're all trained in different ways. I just think of like being in medicine and also being a first responder would be like
double dipping. You would think.
You would.
Did you say you had to study for 4 years?
Yeah, I've been doing it for 4 years.
No, you don't have to study for
How
4 years.
No,
Oh yeah, what's the process of doing? Like getting into it?
For the basic class is 6 months. 4 months, 6 months. Wait, I started in.
He's like,
So the math.
It's like between 4 and 6 months, depending on where you go. I think it was a 4.5, 5 months.
Was it full time? classes?
No, it was Tuesday, Thursday nights from 6 to 10.
Hey,
Whoa,
that is
that's actually
doable.
super
I mean,
manageable.
for a basic. And I mean,
If I could get a visa, I'd totally do that.
Yeah, I'm going to be
Honestly,
an EMT.
yeah.
George the EMT.
I wanted.
it moves up from there because once you get your basic, I want to say it's 4-month class most places. Some places are 6 months, depending on how rigorous they are.
Did your phone die?
Then intermediate, I want to say, is a 6 to 8 month class.
Mhm.
And then right now until I think 2021, the medic class at most places is a year long.
That's still manageable. A year.
But after that, it's going to be, if I remember correctly, a 2-year degree.
Oh, so this is a
like-
recent change?
Yeah, it's going to be a recent change.
Oh.
You know, I've heard the same thing. So for nurses, they all for forever required a 2-year degree, or just a 2-year
Just
degree.
2 year.
And now there's
Now
so many programs that are like 4-year programs that pretty much all colleges are gonna start. I mean, not colleges, but hospitals are gonna require your
4 years.
bachelor's.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But
'Cause
is
I
it
was
gonna come
thinking
with
about-
a higher wage, you think?
What?
That, like, going through a whole another year, I would feel like that would add more value to the person. I feel like they should deserve higher wage.
Yeah, but you gotta think. You would think they would work like that, but most of your...
You would think again. You thought wrong.
That's logical, but we're not
it's
going
logical
there.
because I mean that's how most jobs work.
Yeah,
You put more time
Yeah.
into school, you got more experience,
you're
you
more
get paid
educated. You know more. Yeah.
But most of your EMS systems are county based, so they get their money from the state. The state gets their money from taxes and
Yeah.
the federal government, and it's trickled down. So your county systems have no control on what you get paid. It's the county and the state that dictate your pay. Unless you work for a private ambulance company, then they can kind of dictate what they pay their people.
Which did you know about private ambulance companies?
No.
Please, will you explain? Because my grandparents explained that to me a while back, and I was
I
very
actually work
shocked.
for a private ambulance company. I'm not a county system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Most of your private ambulance systems in this area mainly work in transport. And by transport, it's taking people from facilities, homes, to doctor's appointments, to the hospital, for stuff like that. Now, my company will back up the county systems that we're contracted with, being Greene County, Lenoir, Jones, and Craven. We can back up those county systems if they call and need us.
Right.
But for the most part, our bread and butter is discharges out of hospitals going back to facilities needing patients to go to doctor's appointments and stuff like that.
Wow.
So how do you get funded?
We
The
build-
hospital itself is
No,
billed, or?
Some of the facilities we bill, but for the most part, we bill the patient's insurances.
Okay.
And insurance pays for part or most or however much we can get out of doing that transport.
Yeah.
Which is a bunch of gray areas and
Yeah. So
like most of our
my
healthcare
grandma,
system.
my grandma got something in the mail, and it was talking about you. And the way she was, anyway, the way she was explaining it, I was like trying my best to understand it, but she was like, "Yeah, like that's just how it goes," and she like made light of the. But anyway, she was saying that she pays a subscription to. She pays I don't know, $100 a year or $200 a year to keep the private ambulance in the area. Have you ever heard of this?
I don't.
And she was just basically, I was like, wait, what?
That
And
seems insane.
maybe she's being scammed.
I think your grandmother is being scammed.
That could be something different. That could be a county
found
volunteer unit.
A county volunteer unit, okay.
Yeah, because
That makes sense.
like in Greene County, where my company's based out of, the county has 3 paid full-time trucks,
Okay.
24/7. But it's not a big county, but it's not a small county either. And right now there are 3 volunteer units that also run.
People volunteer?
It's like fire department.
Volunteer firefighters.
So, you know, people that live in
How
the
have I
area.
never thought of that?
This is the whole
So-
point of the podcast, because we don't know nothing, apparently. We don't know
So
about...
people that work and live in Greene County, if they're EMS and work for the county on their days off, if they live in the areas with those
Oh my
volunteer
goodness.
units, they'll volunteer. If they call up that unit and need an extra unit,
Right.
they'll run down this.
I
Down
can
and
see
jump on
that. If
truck
they
and go
know
help.
that they're needed somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same concept of volunteer firefighters.
Yeah.
It's just like when they need more help, like support.
You don't see that a lot. You see that more in the smaller, poorer counties like Greene and
Johnson.
Jones. I don't know if they have it in Johnson, but like
Johnson
Wayne,
isn't even a super poor county
No,
in
it's-
comparison to the.
In relation
Yeah.
to the surroundings.
Jones
Yeah, like
and
if
Greene
you go
County.
towards the beach and south,
Yeah.
that whole area is just farmland. There's nothing. There are no cities. There's
Yeah.
One of
nothing
our
there.
counties, Jones County, it's the poorest county in the state. So, I mean, there's
I heard about Kenansville. Have you heard of that
I have
county?
heard of Kenansville.
Kenansville
There's
is
nothing there.
actually in Duplin County. And Duplin County is another one of the poor.
Yeah,
Duplin.
Duplin County is hurting.
There's nothing there.
It's hurting. I'll tell you that for a
Yeah,
fact.
there's stuff out there, but there's nothing to
Ain't much
that's
of nothing,
sustain.
to be honest.
It's
It's
a
like
half.
everybody's poor.
It's a
just
halfway
strange.
point
It's
between
like,
Wilmington and Goldsboro.
or either
basically.
they're driving an hour and a half
And it's-
every day to a job that
it's
pays
a
okay.
huge county.
But have they ever been... Because, like, for instance, Goldsboro, the zoning in Goldsboro is awful. There is, like, you have high-end property right next to, like, government homes, like government housing. And it
That's anywhere
increases
you
the
go.
property, but not like Goldsboro, though. You can drive on one road in Goldsboro, and you can go from, like, the hood to, like, upper, like, class
There's parts of
in
Cary
less than
like that.
seconds.
There's parts of Cary. You'll be driving.
But Cary's a bigger city.
Yeah, every big city has those things where
Yeah.
there's a really rich neighborhood right next, like New York, that is extreme.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
You-
But Goldsboro's not... I don't think
Goldsboro's pretty
Goldsboro-
small.
It is pretty small, but not in relation to the cities that are around it.
No, not in relation to the cities around
100%.
it.
Like, absolutely. I think that... I don't know. It's just... I think it's worse. I personally... And maybe I'm biased because I grew up there, but...
You
grew
see, I
up-
mean,
you
you're
grew up in
always...
that part of town, so
I grew up in both parts of town. Mainly the
You're
latter.
always gonna see the flaws of your own community or
Maybe, yeah.
the good things. Like you're magnified on it. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
Like it
That's true.
affects you in a way that New York doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
So
But another thing I wanted to bring up with you is, like, I've heard in passing at Brittany's and stuff like that your shifts are insane. Like, so I just kind of wanted you to talk a little bit about, like, your day-to-day life. Like, what you wake up, and I know it's more like week to week because you guys don't do, I mean, you really do day-to-day. When you think about it, it's 24-hour shifts, but, like, talk about that a little bit.
well, a typical day, we run 24/72, so we work a 24-hour shift. We're off for 72 hours,
okay,
which is
wait,
the
doing the
which
math.
is the luckier of shifts because some EMS companies do a fireman shift, which is a 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 4 days off, which Greene County runs that schedule.
Stresses me
I
out.
don't know how they do it. I could not do that because
It seems like you wouldn't be as good. It seems like after
Uh-uh.
that, on that fourth day, that fourth 24-hour,
there's
there's
a third.
no
It's
way.
the
Oh, okay,
hour
the
speak.
third.
It's a 3-day rotation.
Right, and
you
then
get 4
another,
days off.
yeah. But on that
that
third
third one.
day, on those last 10 hours or something. Oh my God, you've got to be so drained
On top of-
physically.
On top of some of those people work a second job in between.
Shit.
Some of the Greene County employees come and work with us on their days off.
Those 4 days off to get some extra
Some
cash.
days on the 4 days off, sometimes in
my
between
life.
shifts.
You need to chill. I'm sorry.
cannot.
We
You
don't-
need to rest.
That's the thing, we don't make the money like you think we should make.
Yeah. So it's like you have to. It's like a
I make
life or
just-
death.
Providing for
I
your
make
family.
just
I
shy
get
of
it.
$13 an hour
Fuck.
as as a base.
Are you serious?
Wayne County's starting pay for a paramedic is $15.50.
Why so you're underpaid? You
Yeah.
would say?
So here's my
See?
question.
I know lifeguards that make that much.
So
Lifeguards, honestly.
Yeah.
they-
Yes, I swear to God.
okay, to give you an idea
so
of
true.
just under $13 an hour equals out to last year I made $28,000.
Okay, so my question
That's
is,
with overtime.
Well, that upsets me
And that's
because
with overtime.
in the retail
That's
world,
with
people are
overtime?
making...
That is with overtime.
what is your plan? Where are you going? Like, is this your goal? Is you're going to do this forever? Or are you planning on getting some more education? Where do you go from here?
And that's what I've been trying to figure out. I've been working on it months, trying to figure out what's next because, you know, I enjoy my job. I love my job to death. But I could go up in my cert, but that entails responsibilities I really don't want to deal with.
Okay.
But at the same time, trying to go back to school for
Yeah.
something else is next to impossible working the schedule I work on top of having 2 kids at home and Brittany working. So when I'm not at work, I'm at home with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So in the price of childcare is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
I just had a friend post a thing talking about, you know, most families pay as much in childcare as they do in rent or mortgage. And my friend's like, I paid more in childcare than I did on my rent.
When we were young,
Shit.
my mom stayed home with me and my brother until we were school age because she knew that. Because at the time she didn't
Right.
have a degree, so she was just right out of,
Yeah.
they were young. And she was like, if I went to work, it would equal out. Like, the child care is so expensive. So she's like, I might as well just stay home with them, at least.
This is
Yeah.
why I
But
don't
this-
understand why jobs underpay, because what they don't understand is that employees who aren't or don't have peace of mind at home financially cannot do their job to
That's
the 100%.
such a good point.
Like, absolutely, like, if you are stressed, like, because the reason why I say that is because I went through, like, financial hardship, and I remember, like, before that, I was, you know me, like, at work, I'm super productive, I have great work ethic, I pride myself on it, but whenever I was going through that financial heartache, like, I could not concentrate, like, it was hard, like, it's something that you can't, it's so hard to focus, so it's like, if I would have just had that little, like, peace of mind, it would have made me a more productive employee, and people don't see it that way. If you put money into your employees will put back to you. So I think that is just, that fucking pisses me off that EMTs don't pay that much, because you guys do so fucking, you go to school. I don't go to school, you know what I mean? I do bullshit. And, like, I swear to God, and it's just, like, pisses me off that you don't get a decent wage. It's fucking insane. It's goddamn insanity, I gotta tell you.
And that's one of the, other than the responsibilities, the increasing, the pay increase isn't great. So I mean, even if I
Yeah,
went and got
we
my
are
medic, I'm making basically 13. At a county system, I'd be getting about $3, which is a substantial amount of money, but still not worth what a nurse makes.
Yeah.
You know, a nurse,
Exactly.
I don't know exactly what a nurse makes a year, but
Nurses make like
Michelle make?
around 40, I would say well over $40,000.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well over
So
42, something like that.
Yeah.
And it depends
so-
on the shifts that they all and it's pretty cool how they've got it set up so there's no guessing, there's no like,
Yeah.
you know, if you interview well you get this wage versus somebody else who doesn't. It's like if you work this time period you get blank dollars an hour. If it's a night shift, you get this much more.
Yeah,
if it's
differentials.
overtime, if
No, that's
it's,
true. That's how my
Yeah.
sister does it. She definitely, if she has like a vacation or she has something planned that she needs, she'll work back. Because I'll ask her, you know, what are you working this week? And she'll just be like, I'm working every single day this week. Like, I'm doing everything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you working that way? She's like, I'm picking up every shift. But it's her choice. It's different when it's your choice because you know there's an end game to it. But when you're being like Greene County, that's like if that's a norm, that's a minimal. Fuck that. You couldn't pay me enough
that's
money.
a full-time employee schedule.
I would throw those $13 back in your face in an hour. Fuck you.
In ones.
Absolutely. Literally, a Target entry-level employee makes $13 an hour starting pay with no experience. It's fucking insane. The system is broken. Anyway, I digress.
Well,
Back to your day-to-day life, though. Your 24-hour shifts. What, from start, like, A to Z, like, how does a 24-hour shift look like? Like, what do you go through?
We lucked out with our schedules now that we did 24s a while back, and they didn't work out too well for us because we used to come in at 7 a.m., work to 7 a.m. the next day, but we were finding it difficult to get crews off at 7 a.m. and we just be flat out exhausted at night because we'd come in at 7 a.m., run our appointments all day long, and at 5 o'clock when the doctor's offices shut down, hospitals would start discharging. So you'd have discharges from 5 o'clock to whenever because you got your discharges back to your facilities. Then you've got your transfers from ED to ED or ED to floor at another hospital. And we were making runs to Vidant, Chapel Hill, Duke, wherever they needed us to go.
Shit.
So we were up all day running calls, then up all night running calls until we got back. Some nights until we got off at 7 a.m. the next day. So it wasn't working out. A lot of us were miserable. Work was, our attitudes at work were slowly going downhill. So we switched to a crazy 12-hour shift where we were working a 12-hour day off, 12 days on, or 12 hours on, then we'd have basically 24 hours off, and then come in a night shift and work 12 hours, and then be off for 2 days. But that was exhausting because you really don't have time to get anything done. Because you'd have 12 hours of work, then go home and have a little bit of home time, and then get up and then have to go to work. And then in those 2 days, you're basically sleeping that first day because you got off a 12-hour night shift. But now we're on a reverse 24, so we go in at 7 p.m. and work to 7 p.m. the next day, which works out because I won't say we're fresh because most of us have kids, but we're better off than we would have been working a full day.
Yeah.
And then having to run all those calls at night. So typically we come in,
at the start of the craziness.
Of our shift. You have days we walk into a madhouse. We have days where we walk in and we've got nothing going on, but we'll come in, talk to the crew that's coming off, see how the day went, what we got going on that night, look at our schedule for what we have first thing in the morning, then do a couple chores around the office, vacuum, finish up laundry, check our trucks off, make sure we got everything we need. And then if we don't have a call, it's to bed we go. Not always going straight to sleep, but relaxing.
Yeah.
Because you never know when we might get something. So, it's a guessing game between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. on what we're running, how much we're going to run that night. So we never know.
Yeah.
We could run all night long and into the morning appointments. We just don't know. But once it gets into the morning shift, we've got our appointments and do stuff like that. And we're just on the road most of the day.
So since you say you do a 24-hour shift and you come home, when you come home, I know there's certain days I go over and you're sleeping and stuff like that. You're trying to get used to it. How does it affect your home life working this kind of schedule? 24 hours with the kids. How do you find time to
And your wife, right?
Yeah,
Because she's got to kind of conform to your schedule a bit too.
Yeah.
It's a bit rough. with the kids, it's not so bad because they're just, hey, daddy's home now. So
Yeah.
I've got daddy for 3 days, and then he's gone for a day, and then he's
that's nice,
home for 3 days. It's nice. It was nicer before, Sophia went to school, because now you got to try and get up and get her ready for school, and that school bus comes way too damn early.
Oh, schools start too early.
Yeah.
It's been proven that
high
they start too
schools
early.
start at 7:15, and in the wintertime, it's not even light out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like her bus picks her up at 6:45. They've got to be at school at 7:45, and they start their day at 8.
No.
Kids
That's
are
too
not,
early. Let's wait till the sun
Yeah.
comes up. I like getting up with the sun.
There's no way kids are like actually taking anything in at 7 a.m.
Especially high school
Not
kids.
happening. Especially those that
They just
puberty.
sleep.
Their puberty stops them from being awake till noon.
They sleep through first and second block,
Yeah.
and then they fail those classes, or they get C's in those classes, and then they eat, and they come back, and then they want a nap because they just ate something, and then fourth block is like, okay, it's the end of the day. So they're just completely not productive human beings.
No, they just wasted an entire day. They
Yeah,
didn't learn
they
a damn
wasted
thing.
the entire day.
That's why we can't learn this shit in high school.
Unless something random happens, like we go on a field trip, then they're all of a sudden
Yeah.
excited. And it's like, okay, I can pay attention for this.
I can do this.
That's the important stuff anyway, though. So.
But you think that I have a kindergartner,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I remember kindergarten. You play, you eat, you
You
sleep,
sleep?
you repeat.
Yeah.
Now
You
they're
take
coming-
naps.
Now
on
they're
the
coming home
towel.
with homework.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yes.
learning sight words. It's crazy the things that they're trying to teach these kindergartners that don't have the brain function to learn this stuff yet.
So this is when we need to bring in George.
Oh yeah. George can put a very.
What's your thoughts on this?
Oh yeah, so I went to like a weird school. It was a kindergarten as well, the way you start, and we did stuff like painting and playing and like making little sort of dens out of wooden stuff, and we'd make bread every week as a group. And
Now the kids are doing
I would-
trigonometry. in
so
kindergarten.
I literally didn't learn to read or write until I was like 7, which is I think quite late.
That's quite late.
Yeah, it's quite late. But
It depends on the.
I like just recently passed a course that allows me to teach English to adults. So it
That's
didn't have
insane.
like a massive effect on like my
Yeah.
ability to
Because I
read
think,
and write.
Yeah.
I think those before 7 years are the years to learn like sociability and
Yes.
caringness and
Yes.
learning to share
Kind
and being
people.
kind. It's like the traits that matter in
How to
adulthood.
play.
Yeah,
how to have
exactly.
a good
And then at
time.
7, it's like, okay, it's time to buckle the fuck down.
Yeah.
Learn to write.
All right, we're gonna learn how to read now.
Yeah,
This is
it's time
enough.
now. And I think your brain may actually like learn it more efficiently because you learn it later in life.
But yeah, they're trying to teach them sight words, how to read. They're doing math. They're adding and subtracting in kindergarten.
Do they still have nap time?
No,
Stop.
No. There's-
Stop.
No.
There's no nap
there's no
time.
nap time for kindergartners anymore. And it came out.
I will
Teachers
continue
amount.
never to have children. I will never bring children to this world.
time is
Because
money.
of this.
Time
Because
is
my
money.
children do not have naps. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna homeschool them. I'll send them to high
Forget
school so
about
they can
it.
learn social skills. They'll get bullied the first year, but it's okay. I got through it.
We all did.
They're fine. It builds character, they
Yes.
say. That is insane. What the fuck?
And it came
Adding
out.
and subtracting.
Adding and subtracting. And it came out of the teacher's mouth when me and Brittany were up there talking to her one day for when we were bringing
Yeah.
treats for Sophia. She's like, yeah, we're teaching beyond their mental capacity right now.
She said that?
Yeah.
So the teachers
First
even
state.
know what
Yeah.
they're doing.
So I had.
But it's per the state. This
I
is
was
what
about
the
to say,
state.
you know, I don't know if you've
record-
heard about this movement with the government trying to, like, literally it came out that they were trying to keep up with Chinese school. Because Chinese school, like,
Do
kids
we-
are learning, like, languages. Don't do that. And it's like, that's literally ever since then, ever since that, I don't know if it was like, I don't know if it was a bill, I don't know what exactly happened, but everything became a lot more serious for us.
Come on, Cormac.
What was that? It's some bullshit. I'm telling you. What were you about to say before you were about to?
Before you interrupted me.
Really?
You know, I don't care. Yeah, I have a friend who went to like a parent-teacher conference, and her child is really young also, and she went to the parent-teacher conference, and the teacher starts saying, you know, this is how your child's doing in math and in reading, and she was like, yeah, but is my kid a good person? Like, does she get along with everybody? Is she nice? And they were like, oh, absolutely. And she was like, okay, well, I don't really care about this. Like, she straight out was just like, okay, so we'll read with her at home and stuff, but like, yeah, as long as she's a kind person, 'cause she's like, what, 6, 7? Like, I don't care if she's not good at math. Like, I just don't, it's not even
Is
a
she
priority.
an asshole? Is she bullying anyone?
Yeah.
Is she building social skills? Like, this is the shit that matters.
Yeah,
guys.
is she sharing her toys? Like, that's what I care about.
She's sharing her toys.
Did I succeed as a parent?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's all home stuff, isn't it? That's stuff you really learn at home.
Yeah.
Seeing your
100%.
parents interact, I think, is just a massive part of growing up, and like seeing how human beings relate to one another.
This goes back to my thing. There is a right and wrong way to parent.
Yes.
I don't believe there's no wrong way to parent. There's absolutely a wrong way. You're fucking doing it wrong. Stop making excuses for yourself. This is coming from a woman with no children. So my opinion obviously is not shit, but still. So I know for a fact, I haven't actually heard the recent crazy story you have, but I know you have some insane stories that you walk into, because I spoke with like a firefighter and he was telling me crazy stories. So I know all of your positions come with something insane. Is there one situation that just sticks out that you'll like it's etched into your brain?
Or 2.
Or 3.
Yeah.
There's a few. I'll go with the less.
No, go with the most
disturbing.
gruesome one.
No,
George is like, I guess. Go ahead and go for it. Are you ready for that? She might be a bit
No,
scared.
I'm good with death. Go
There's a
for
couple
it.
of those that still bother me.
Oh.
And telling them outside of the wrong circles just doesn't feel right.
Okay. I could put like a disclaimer before this.
No, I'm not gonna go on
Okay.
that road. I'm gonna tell the most recent one that I was talking about the other
Yes,
day.
and I told you to be quiet. I want to hear it on the podcast. I walked out.
So, like, in our job, we take people home. We work middle of the night. This particular incident, it was 11, 12 o'clock at night. Maybe not quite that late, but it was dark out. And it was in the late evening. And we were taking a lady home. Larger lady, barely could walk. Luckily, she could walk well enough to get up her own stairs into the house. A little bit of tidbit. My partner right now is a female. She's probably 5'5". This woman was well over 350 pounds. She's probably closer to 400. So there was no way in hell, if she couldn't have walked, we would have been able to get her up the stairs into her house.
Right.
But luckily she could walk. Well, we get her up on our back porch, and she has to take a breather. Luckily she has a couch there. She sits down. We reach to go grab the door handle. It's locked. We're like, you got your keys? She's like, no, but my grandson's home. His car's sitting right there. We're like, all right. So we knock on the door. No answer. Knock on the door. No answer. I'm like, look at my partner. I'm like, knock on that door like you're police.
Boom, boom, boom.
I almost
she
took
does
bleep.
And she does it. No answer. By this time, we've been sitting out there 15, 20 minutes with this lady. And she's tried to get up with her daughter to get hold of her grandson to see what's going on, if he's home, if he's not home. Nothing. We don't hear anything back. I'm like, there's a second door on the back of the house. I go check it. It's locked. I'm like, where's shits and giggles? Let me walk around front, see if the front door is unlocked. Who knows? She says it's probably unlocked, or it's probably locked, but I'm going to go check just
Yeah.
Yes.
Natural.
Well, I go up there. reach down, grab hold of that door handle, it opens. I'm like, alright, pull it back 2, go around back. I'm like, alright, so let me ask you a couple questions. She's like, alright. I'm like, so it's just you, your daughter, and your grandson that live here, right? She's like, yes. I'm like, okay. And he's obviously not home. She's like, yeah, because if you would have knocked on that door like you did, he would have come to the door and let us in, even if he was asleep. I was like, alright, so there's nobody else that could be in that house. She's like, no. I'm like, alright. Well, go around front, beat on the door like I'm the police, open the door, announce myself, I'm coming in. Open the door, reach over, find the light switch, cut it on. It's a single wide trailer. So I'm walking through the living room to the back door. It's diagonal across the house. Walking through the living room into the kitchen. And I happen to glance over at the couch. And there's a blanket draped over it. And I couldn't quite tell if it was just a pile of blankets laying there. Or if there was somebody there. But I was like... Because I at first I just thought it was a pile of blankets, but I double take and I look at it. I'm like,
that's a body.
That could be somebody laying there. So I'm like, let me scoot to this back door and get it unlocked before somebody jumps up on me. And as she's coming in the door, I lean over to my partner. I'm like, her grandson could be laying on this couch, but I'm not 100% sure. When we get her in the house, she sits down in this chair. I'm standing behind her. My partner's in front of her getting the paperwork signed. And that pile moves. I'm like, I'm done. And my partner's like, well, that's nice. And we leave. And I'm like, that is the sketchiest shit I have ever done.
So you never found out what it was?
It was him. It was him on the fucking couch the whole goddamn time.
Why wasn't he answering the door?
Probably
he was high.
Drunk,
He
high,
was
whatever. Because...
So is that part of your job? Do you have to get them inside their house? Or is that just like, alright, this is an old lady.
Helped her out, yeah.
We're going to
You just drop her off at the curb?
Yeah, could you?
Drop off service?
It depends on the situation. Hers, it was kind of on borderline on we could leave her sitting there. We couldn't leave her sitting. There's some folks that walk, just locked out of their house, just needed a ride home, that I wouldn't have an issue leaving on the front porch till
somebody comes.
As long as I know they've got somebody coming.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, go, I'm fine. Fine. But, little 90-year-old grandma that's, in a fetal position, I can't leave her laying on the front porch. I've got to wait till somebody gets here to take them inside, or she's going back to the hospital.
But that's crazy that that's up to your discretion. And we talked about earlier the pay, and the fact that you have to make that sort of ethical call on the spot. Are you calling up your boss and be like, hey, what should I do? Or are you just like, no, I'm not going to leave an old lady sitting on a couch?
The first year or so, I'd call my boss and be like, hey, I got this situation. How do I need to handle it? But, over the years, it gets to the point where most of your situations you run into over and over again, you know how to handle it. There's very few times now that I'm like, hey, what do I do with this?
Yeah. Right.
But I have no problem when I come across an issue calling my boss, be like, how do I need to handle this?
You must have been put in that situation in the past to be able to I'm gonna do this.
I've broken into people's houses before. I mean,
open a window.
Shit, I have to break into my own house some days.
I've crawled in so many windows.
I've broken into this
George
house.
has broken into his house.
I broke into my old house. I mean, I can't break into my new house.
Growing up, my parents would send us through the windows to
Yeah,
unlock
I mean,
windows.
when I say break into my house, I have to have Sophia go through the window.
Yeah, he has a daughter. I forgot. That's so smart.
They're so little. So my dad, and then of course, this is even funny now I'm thinking about, because I grew up over across the street, And we grew up in a single wide trailer. And then my parents, they built the house or whatever in front of it. But I remember clear as day I was probably 4 or 5 years old. And my dad's like, all right, we got to break into the house and unlock the front door. So the kitchen window, he opens up and he sends my brother through. And then I'm like, I'm going to be sent through the kitchen window. So he sends me through. And then, of course, my brother goes and unlocks the door. It's like climbing down off the kitchen sink cabinet.
My mom would actually not lock the door and leave a window open. She'd be like, I'd just be like, hey, is the house unlocked? No, but the back window's open. And I'm like, all right. So I was forced to break into my house every day after school.
That's hilarious.
Breaking into houses, who knew B&Es were so easy?
But no, you're talking about pay and decisions we have to make. Our primary work area is Kinston.
Which, by the way, just to note it, is, what is it, the highest crime rate right now? If I'm not mistaken, or it was at one point, it was the highest crime rate in all of North Carolina. Number 1 on the list.
Per capita.
Quote me on that.
Per capita.
Wait, Jamie? Jamie, quote me on it.
Kinston, North Carolina.
Highest crime rate.
Let's see how good
it might not have been highest, but it's pretty high
crime
on the
rate.
list.
Kinston, North Carolina.
And it's not
KINS.
Crimes committed or shootings committed. It's overall general per capita per, incident per 1,000 people or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's rough.
It's a rough area to work in.
Wayne County and Goldsboro's moving up on the list here.
All right, Jamie.
Yeah. So the overall crime rate in Kinston is 160% higher than the national average, and for
160% higher.
Yeah, and for every 100,000 people, there are 19.5 daily crimes that occur in Kinston.
That's insane.
It's only safer than 1% of the cities in the US.
Literally the 1%. You had to get up and walk away.
So no lie, sitting in a truck during the winter, it's not as bad.
Who knows?
But with
the winter, they're docile.
Well, never mind. We won't go there. But you know what I'm saying.
I'm not. Okay.
Is this casual racism happening?
I don't know.
Yes, it is. Because I say that because Carla lived, right outside the projects.
Honestly, I'm as minority as it gets.
Not saying
right in the projects.
It wasn't right in it. It was, block
literally in the
2
projects in
out.
our backyard. So fuck you. We're not sure. The important part is I made it out of that situation.
Yeah, right.
And I'm a hardworking woman now.
But during the winter, it's not so bad. Now that it's warming up.
But that's everywhere too, though, because retail businesses are more busy during the summer because people are like, have more energy. The sun is giving them positive energy.
But
you're saying that we have.
I'm saying during the winter,
a dominant farming. Is that what you're talking about?
No, not once. Shut up. No. Just be quiet.
No, but I'm gonna say is during the winter the calls aren't as bad. But now that it's warming up, and during the summers in Kinston, it's not shocking to hear a GSW, which is a gunshot wound, come out once a day, every day a week, 3 times a week. There was a murder 3 days ago in Kinston.
Yes, Wayne County's getting that bad too. I've heard.
Wayne County's getting so bad.
A murder?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wayne County's
like Sherlock.
No, this tells you how bad Wayne County's getting. And I'm surprised Lenore hasn't done it because Lenore's worse. But Wayne County EMS carries body armor on their trucks.
That is insane.
It's like military, almost.
That is insane.
I don't know exactly what rating their body armor is, but they have bulletproof vests on their trucks.
They're scared of their own citizens.
It's not even that they're scared of their citizens. It's a lot of the situations that they get into in any crime is collateral damage. So it's not that they were targeting you, but it's the people that are in the wrong place in the wrong time.
Not
so that's what
only that is, we walk into situations, we have no clue what's going on. Some of these situations we walk into should have had LEO on scene before we got there.
Law enforcement
officers.
Oh,
But
that's
some-
interesting. But you're the
but
first
some-
one to arrive,
But sometimes we're the first ones to arrive
Oh, that's awkward.
because
and someone's been shot.
been shot because the person that was calling it in might not have been as descriptive as they needed to be.
Right.
They didn't say they were shot. I found so and so on the floor bleeding, and now they've dispatched us,
Right.
and we're walking into a situation we have no clue. We walk in, find this person been shot. Okay, where's the gun? Where's the shooter? And we're in there by ourselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whereas if they had called
so
it in,
interesting.
if they had called it in as a gunshot wound,
Right.
LEO would have been first on.
And then
We would have been
Automatically.
dispatched, but we would have been told to hold
oh, really?
until scene was safe to bring us
Really?
in.
You're telling me that you are sometimes in the line of fire because of a. Okay, so this brings me to a good point. Whenever I was speaking to this firefighter that I met, he like part-time, he shadowed as an EMT, and he told me something about there's different levels of calls since he's a volunteer he's an actual full-time firefighter. He said there's different levels where, you know, some calls like firefighters automatically get dispatched for like car wrecks.
Yeah.
So he was like, there's different priorities, I guess. So he was saying that if someone just says a couple words like car wreck and then hangs up, they automatically send out all three, like the EMT, law enforcement officers, and the firefighters, and it's like no one's hurt. Like someone just hung up because they wanted to hang up, and their hip is like sore, like, and it's like a total waste of fucking time for these people because they have to go out. But it's almost like the opposite side of that spectrum where like you go out and it's way more serious than you fucking think it is, like versus it being way less serious.
You
and
would
it's a waste of your
rather
time.
more people go out
Exactly.
than not
So
enough.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like the reason why they send out somebody as a precaution, because maybe something's fucking happened and they need those people to go out. But that's fucking insane. Like you can be hurt.
Well, here's another one for you. Here's the numbers for you. 85% average of calls for EMS in the United States are non-emergency calls.
No way.
85%.
That's an insane number, Jamie.
No, I
Believe
seriously
it.
Fact
looked it up
check
the other
this.
day. It's
Never mind, he's
85%.
Jamie today.
Because
911 calls is what you're saying.
yeah,
Because I think a lot of
Wow.
people don't know that you can call your police station.
Yes. A
Or
lot of
you
people
could
do
call,
not know.
you can.
I just learned it very
well,
recently
I don't know
in my
if it's
job.
I don't know if it's 99 or 85% overall all of 911. I'm talking in just EMS.
Okay.
EMS 911 calls
Goes
85%. 85% of the time, ambulance goes to pick someone up. It's a non-emergency
irrelevant.
situation.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
They could have got in a car, gone themselves, taking care of it at home. A life alert went off and they accidentally pressed the button. You know, dumb mess. Like
You just show up and you're like, okay, everything's
This was-
good.
We did
we're
this
cool.
for like one of my last lessons that I did. It was about calling the emergency services. So it's like teaching immigrants that have lived in England for a long time. None of them first off knew the emergency number.
What?
No one.
What is the emergency number?
999.
No.
first.
Oh yeah.
They knew 911, but it's not going to be any help for them
Because
Yeah,
of
it's like
like
But,
what
yeah,
Seinfeld
that was part
or
of, I got them to read this article which
South
was about
Park.
like the amount of calls that they get that are just like, my back pain doesn't seem to be improving,
yeah.
or like
I stubbed
literally
my
stuff like
toe.
my pizza came with the wrong topping, or like there's no
Wow.
toilet paper in this bathroom and stuff like that. Just ridiculous shit that people will call up because they don't know who to call, and then they're just
They're
like,
just
They,
I'm gonna
nah,
call
nah,
999.
We'll see. They'll get me with the right person.
Isn't it like the average, like, I don't know if you might need to look this up for me, George, but
Yep.
the average cost of an ambulance in America, because what they don't realize, this shit's like, if I'm not mistaken, he's gonna fact check me, is like it's over $2,000.
I
to
think
get-
it's up to 5,000.
Fucking A.
I think
So
the
basically,
national
these
average is
people that are
5,000.
bullshitting, and they're just like, oh, my toe hurts, like, come pick me up, sis.
It,
Like,
it depends on if you do have Medicare or whatever.
Medicare doesn't cover all of it, I don't believe, does it?
I know people who who are on Medicaid or Medicare. Not my world, but people who say like if something happens to them, it doesn't matter. Like I know someone who had broken their thumb like a week ago, and then they're like sitting there and like, oh, I can't afford a ride to the hospital.
Oh yeah,
they would call the EMS to come out and. But the cost of her Medicare was irrelevant because she was gonna get, which she has disabilities and stuff like that. But still, it was all gonna be covered, so it wasn't an issue for her. Maybe she could call them out. Where me personally, I would never call somebody out here. I'd be like, "Hey, Carla, you need to take me to the hospital ASAP."
Sure.
Like
I'm the same way. George, what's the verdict?
It's kind of confusing because of like the time and stuff, but it says something like. This just says the reasons, the collection rate, an ambulance company might send out 10 bills for $1,500 each. 2 of the bills might be paid the same
You know
time.
why? It's because whenever
Poor George. He's just like, this is all ridiculous. This is ridiculous that you would be... Right?
It is. I just think it's like sad because as a country, America could easily provide like the best medical care for all of its citizens.
Hell yes.
Like, it could do that as a project.
This is why I love him. This is why I love him. Honest to God.
It's just true. The richest country in the world in terms of how much money you create. So
we
could
do
use
create.
that.
We don't have, but we create.
Yeah.
We can definitely cipher things.
We
in
could.
different ways.
We could do it. Like we absolutely
if it was a priority,
could do it.
if
it's
it
not
mattered,
a priority.
If giving people actual health care was beneficial to America, like going to war was, it would happen.
Yes.
But it's more profitable to go to war than it is to actually save your citizens.
Well, we're a capitalist country.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Everything in America is based on the dollar. If you keep your citizens sick, somebody's making money.
Sure.
It's very true. It's extremely true. It's better, like, I don't know when it's turned to conspiracy hour, but welcome to conspiracy hour, because...
Cancer treatments?
Cancer fucking treatments! Okay,
why
I'm not going to say who...
Why would they?
I know someone who's a nurse who's spoken to me about this and with extreme passion on how chemotherapy is absolutely a crock of shit. It's like the statistics of people that it actually works on far exceeds the amount of people it kills quicker than if they were just to live with it. You know what I'm saying? And just like do holistic way, not holistic in that sense. I'm not trying to be like a fucking nut, but like if they did organic treatments and they cut their diet, there's certain things in your diet that are definitely, I feel like Joe Rogan right now, but if you could like change your lifestyle,
your diet has to change.
Absolutely, your diet has everything to do with how you feel and how you are. So it's just like I just feel like it's such a big crock of shit. It's like they want to make money. You make more money off of cancer treatments than you are of curing it. So that's why like people out there really believe that there's a cure for cancer has already been created. Now I don't personally like
That's
believe.
a Joe Rogan conspiracy theory.
That is a Joe Rogan conspiracy theory. I don't per se like absolutely fall into that conspiracy.
I'm in it.
But
I looked up all the stuff about this. I went to see an acupuncturist once, and they had this book called I think the Gerson Method or something, Gerson Method, and it was basically just like a diet where you only drink like specific types of fruit and vegetable juice.
Pomegranate.
So the Gerson method?
I can't remember, is it Gerson or Gerson or something? I can't remember exactly, but it seemed to like it was like a proper medical doctor, scientist, and he did loads of controlled studies, and it like did help lots of people. But then one of my best friends, his mum, had cancer, and she did chemotherapy and also this kind of diet as well, and she still died. Like it didn't like save her in the end. But the crazy thing about that experience of like being there with her was that she was so happy. Through getting the diagnosis, she'd had cancer before, but like she sort of knew that she was probably going to die. But she was like saying like, I feel amazing. Like I feel like great. I don't feel weak.
Energy spike.
Right. Because of her diet, you think? That's what
maybe she cut out all processed food, all sugar.
So
No, that absolutely.
So
When I
what
was
I
just-
was
That
gonna
is
say-
insanely hard. That is one of the hardest things you can do.
Yeah,
Cut that out.
McDonald's.
100%.
But what I was gonna say is, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the chick was saying that she found out she had cancer, and she for 3 months ate this like insanely clean diet, like fruits, vegetables. She did eat meat, but it was all grass-fed, organic meat.
Yeah, yeah.
So Joe Rogan.
She, Alex, of
Some
course.
bisons.
Of course. And she did that for like 3 months and went back, and they said there were no cancer cells.
Whew. Whoa.
That's insane. But it's one-off chances like that. No, I wouldn't
Who
say.
knows? But
I
I'm just
wouldn't
saying, it's
say
gotta
that
have an effect, right?
Some people are like, adjust to diet doesn't help. I just think fate has a different, like, that's the thing people don't understand is fate. Like, sometimes you're not meant to be on this earth for that long. You know, it's okay. Like, you served your purpose.
I'm with you.
You're like,
You
your
have to
energy
be-
has done its job.
You have to accept the fact that you are going to die, and maybe this is the time, or maybe it's
Yeah.
not. Like, but that's, I mean, you must have a different perspective on
Yeah.
death.
I have
And
a
life?
completely flip side on the clean living, holistic.
You've seen the
version
opposite, I'm sure.
that you guys have. I'm pretty sure I've told you. I don't know. My family's been having a rough year. In February,
Oh, for sure.
my father was diagnosed with leukemia.
Mm.
He actually finished up for right now, his last round of chemo, his third round of chemo, yesterday. He
Sweet.
should be going home today.
That's amazing.
But he's been in and out of the hospital since February, 3 times, with the first time being a month. But
What kind of cancer?
leukemia.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's different. I mean, is it, so it's not a specific area? What does leukemia
Blood
mean?
cancer.
Blood.
Cancer in the blood.
So the blood actually has cancer. Wow.
So, but after his first round, he was in complete remission. Over the past, 2-3 months, he's stayed in remission. But they've done 2 more rounds of chemo since, just as part of their treatment plan, and it's worked for him.
That's incredible.
His next step is probably late June. He's going to Chapel Hill and doing a bone marrow transplant.
Wow.
Which, thankfully, everything lined up for that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he was a candidate, and then going in the system, because typically the best candidates for bone marrow transplants are your direct siblings.
Exactly.
None of the 3 were candidates for him.
Mm.
But going in to the system, the worldwide system, they found 6 matches right off the bat.
Whoa.
So they're in the processes.
That's
process.
honestly means so much, because I know, like, I don't know if you really want to talk about it, but I know you've had death in the family, like,
Yeah, I
back
lost
to
my
back.
grandfather first of the year.
So it was like, that was like the news they needed to hear, which is awesome. That's like a fucking anomaly, man. 6 fucking candidates right off the bat in the database. It's unheard of.
Yeah. So late June, they're just getting stuff planned. Late June, he's supposed to go in, get his bone marrow transplant. He's supposed to be in the hospital for like, I think, a couple weeks, but then has to spend like 90 days in a facility that's right down the street from the hospital in case something happens with him living, because he lives in Washington D.C. right
Yeah.
now. So they wanted him close, so he's got to stay in a facility. It's basically a hospital hotel. It's not no nursing staff or whatever, but it's right down the street from the hospital
That's
in
good,
case
though.
something happens.
So you can just go right
He's
boom.
right there. But yeah, so things are going good with him. The chemo worked for him.
Yeah. But, like, how does it make you, because I know you, like I said, you've experienced death in the family. Like, what is your whole, and you experienced death in your job. Like, what exactly how do you feel about it? Like, how do you conceptualize death? Are you scared of it? Are you just, like, okay with it? Have you come to terms with it?
I mean, everybody dies.
For sure.
I mean, it's just a matter of when your time comes and if it's long and painful or short and sweet.
That's terrifying.
I mean, it is a terrifying thought because, you know, I see these folks that, you know, carry on a weekly, daily basis that are just in pain and not there in the head. That it's like that life has to be horrible.
I have a great friend of mine whose mom is suffering through cancer, and it's like every other checkup they have is like good news and then bad news. So like one chemo would eradicate so much, like so much polyps that are happening, or so much tumors that are going on inside the brain, and the next one produce more. So it's like a back and forth, and it's insane to see her attitude change, because she goes from being so positive to just like, even whenever she's like she has bad news, she can be positive, but sometimes it wears you fucking down, and you're just like, I don't even want to, like, I give up. I put my hands up. Like, I didn't want to try anymore. And watching those people suffer through it more emotionally than anything. So even if they get through it, they'll never be the same. You know, like having to endure life or death in your mind and having to like come okay with the terms of dying, it just makes you a completely different person. So it's fucking insane to think about.
But yeah, I've had a crazy year. Lost my grandfather for a year. Dad diagnosed with leukemia. Most recently, we ended up having to put my grandmother in a nursing facility because she has dementia and Alzheimer's. And she fell a couple times at home, one of which her sister found her on the floor in the bathroom. Looked like she hit her face on the sink, and when she went to get her up, her extremities were cold. She'd been sitting on the floor in the bathroom so long. So she's now in the facility. And then a week and a half ago, my niece was born and had birthing complications. She ended up being stuck in the birthing canal for 8 minutes before they got her out. Luckily, they kind of knew that it was going to be not the best of pregnancies way beforehand, I guess. And so they did all their stuff at Greenville and Vidant. So they were at Vidant. So she immediately went to the NICU.
Oh, good.
They put her on a cooling blanket to help, you know, with the brain swelling and to pull all that blood to the core, to the brain, to preserve anything. She actually went home Friday after being in the hospital a week and a half.
I was wondering how that was going.
Yeah, she's home now.
This might be a really dark question, and I hate to take it to this place, but does it scare you, the amount of genetic diseases that run in your family, like with your daughters? Or like even you yourself? Because dementia is a son of a bitch genetically.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely...
The leukemia, luckily, isn't genetic. His was a mutation from, there's like 4 causes, and it was smoking, nuclear material, petroleum.
Hold up, what about the nuclear material? What's that? What is he? You work in a power plant or something?
Like I
Army,
said,
he's a military guy, yeah.
My dad was Air Force. He was an ammo troop.
Oh, so that's where.
So, like, the 4 things that he named off, he's been in contact with. His father was a smoker. Before he went in the hospital, he hauled gas for a living. And nuclear material, because he's an ammo troop, and he spent time in Iraq.
Yeah.
So, you know, that stuff's everywhere with Saddam, because he was there during the first Gulf War as active duty, and the second time around he went over as a civilian contractor, destroying Saddam's stockpiles that he had.
I thought he didn't have any weapons of mass destruction.
He didn't have weapons of mass
He
destruction. He had mass weapons.
Yeah.
There's a difference. It wasn't weapons of mass destruction. It was mass weapons.
I can't remember what it was, but there's something that I'm pretty sure America dropped in Iraq, which has like, you know, they have a half-life for nuclear materials, so it stays, and it's going to stay like for the rest of Earth's history.
Yeah.
Something. It's just like
I can't remember if they did that in.
Or maybe it's, I'm not sure.
But like,
but it is also just a desert. Like there's plenty of places in the world that have like radiation, and they all weirdly recover as well. Like Have you ever
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
pictures
yeah.
of Hiroshima and
Yeah.
Nagasaki
Mm.
now? They're like thriving, nice
Where did
places.
your cousin go?
But they
Because
do
of-
have a lot
Chernobyl.
of.
Chernobyl in Russia.
however you pronounce it. Yeah, his
Yeah,
cousin
Russia.
went there.
You can visit there
You
now.
can
You
visit
can
there now,
visit.
right?
You can
Yeah.
visit parts of it now.
Yeah.
Parts,
There's still
yeah, this is
areas that are
America.
extremely
Oh,
radioactive.
okay.
They test you for radiation as well when you
And-
go in and out.
Like he was saying, Nagasaki and
I gotta get
Hiroshima,
a bunker.
there's still areas you can't
Yeah,
go
we gotta
in
get a
there.
bunker.
Oh wow.
There's areas
Yeah.
in Japan that are still heavy. Maybe it wasn't there. No, because I'm thinking of Japan also had a nuclear reactor meltdown, didn't they?
Fukushima.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fukushima.
Fukushima.
Fukushima's where you can't still go. There's
But
I
Hiroshima,
bet.
you can.
yeah, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they're on the map again. I mean,
Yeah.
they're full blown cities.
Yeah.
There is a high rate of genetic defects in those areas though,
Mm.
from the nuclear radiation.
Clearly.